Hi, I'm DelusionDispeller. I'm going to conclude these particular videos in this series with an explanation of something that I said earlier about why do narcissistic adults have such a hard time sharing. Well, I just want to play something out, a little scenario here for you. A mother, a true mother, that is not narcissistic, if the child sits there and let's just say Susie and Mary's the child that's got a little bit of a temperament issue, and Susie is her friend that came over to play. Well, Mary is throwing a fit because Susie would like to borrow the doll that Mary had. A good mother would say, Mary, you've had the dolly long enough. You need to share it with Susie. You need to let her have a turn. Well, Mary most likely will throw a temper tantrum. That's normal with children. And what the mother in a balanced situation would say is, Mary, that's enough. Here's another toy for you to play with. Now, I need you to share with Susie because it's her turn. You've had the doll, and now we're going to let Susie have it for a couple minutes, and then we'll give it back to you, and you can have the dolly for a couple minutes, and we'll take turns. And Mary continues to throw a temper tantrum, possibly. Then Mother says, Mary, if you continue to throw a temper tantrum, you will have to sit on the chair. Or she says, Mary, if you're going to continue to act like this, Susie will have to go home. She may even say, Mary, this is not appropriate behavior. If this is how playtime will result with Susie, Susie will not be allowed to come over for a while. Now, with a narcissistic so-called parent, Mary throws a fit about the doll, stamps her feet, bangs her head on the floor, spits, bites, whatever she does to throw a fit. The narcissistic so-called parent will probably punish Mary severely, beat her, ignore her, or give the doll back to Mary and say, okay, here's the doll. Just be quiet. Stop screaming. And then Mary says, got my way. If mommy punishes, the narcissistic mommy punishes severely, then Mary learns that it's not okay, or that it is demanded of her that she has to give something up. She doesn't want to give up. And if she doesn't do what the authority says, there is extreme pain in store for her. Very often, if it's a narcissistic type of person to be, if this type of thing happens, they look at the person they're meant to share with as somebody they don't like. Like, if you weren't here, this wouldn't have happened to me. If you didn't have to be such a brat about sharing my dolly, Mom wouldn't have gotten mad and beaten me. They distort things. They don't see things like, wow, my behavior really, was not good. But Mom has an anger issue, so she, instead of handling this in a balanced way, beat me. They can't reason all that stuff out. Heck, some adults can't reason that stuff out. If the so-called mother, narcissistic mother, ignores Mary and just lets the two duke it out, Mary doesn't have a sense of, she doesn't have a barometer to determine that it's necessary to take turns. So she never learns that. Because basically she's either going to get into fighting with Susie, or she's just going to sit there frustrated because Susie's trying to grab this doll from her, and the so-called mother is doing nothing but doing the dishes, being on the phone, whatever. That's why it's important for a true parent to step in on playtime and intervene. That's why children live what they learn. If you're not taught something as a child, as an adult, you do not know how to do that. Those of you that are married to narcissists or living with narcissists or have narcissistic friend, friends realize that, as I always say, the wiring is not there. What I mean by that is it was never something that they saw as an example in front of them, so they didn't learn it. And it's not something that just all of a sudden happens as you're growing up. Oh, I think I should share this. You weren't taught to share. You were taught to pull it towards yourself and no, mine, mine, mine. And nobody stepped in and said, no, you need to share that. Or no, you can't just hoard everything to yourself. There's other people that matter too. If you weren't taught that other people matter, you're not going to think they do. So to me, narcissism is almost a logical consequence of really poor parenting, parenting by narcissists, parenting by so-called parents that were just too busy and couldn't be bothered, people that were very much tyrants, that had issues of their own that they didn't deal with, so they took it out on the children. There's a lot of reasons why narcissism happens, I think. At any rate, those of you that ask me, I get a lot of letters telling me their story, your story about the narcissist in your life, or the person in your life, I should say. And you ask me things like, well, is he a narcissist? Is he a psychopath? What's wrong with him? Can you tell me? My answer is no, I cannot tell you. I've not sat down and formally evaluated him or her. I'm not a counselor. Can't really, diagnose in that sense, especially not somebody that I don't have in front of me. I have to watch body language. I would have to give, paper tests to that person. I can't just listen to a story and say, oh, yes, they're a narcissist, or they're a psychopath. But what I do say to most people that confront me, I will say they have narcissistic traits. They seem narcissistic. A lot of times I'll also get questions of, well, why are they like that? Why do they do that? It doesn't matter. Just get away from them if it's safe to do so. You don't need to analyze them and figure everything out. Just get out. Reclaim your life. It doesn't matter whether they were born that way, whether something happened to them and they're that way. Do a little bit of research if you absolutely have to, but don't become obsessed over the research. Spend the time working on yourself, because trying to figure them out isn't doing anybody any good, because they're not likely to change unless they decide to. So you need to move on and not let their issues become your issues and stop your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back whenever I have something new to talk about. God bless you. Bye for now, and Happy New Year.